$31,000 is hiding in your investor mortgage, and it's completely legal. Your lender quoted you Prime+0.5%, but when you dig into their 10K filing with the SEC, another 6% in spread appears buried across processing fees, underwriting costs, and closing line items. On a $500K loan over 30 years, that gap cost you approximately $31,000 in additional interest. If you're managing a 3-property portfolio, you're looking at $93,000 in aggregate hidden costs across your holdings. Stay with me because I'm going to show you exactly which line items servicers use to hide this spread, how to spot it in your loan estimate before you sign, and the 3 questions that force your lender to reveal the true all-in cost right now. Most real estate investors believe the interest rate a lender quotes is the true cost of borrowing. It's not. The quoted rate Prime+0.5% is just the beginning. According to research into public mortgage servicer filings and CFPB loan estimate data, major servicers systematically disclose an additional 6% spread across origination fees, underwriting fees, and processing costs. This is not fraud. It's buried in plain sight in their SEC disclosures. But most investor borrowers never connect the dots between the quoted rate and the line items on the final loan estimate. Here's where it gets worse. A $500K investor loan with a 30-year amortization at Prime+0.5% looks like a competitive deal, but that 0.5% quoted rate masks a true all-in cost of approximately 1% above prime when you add the 6% spread embedded in fees. The difference, roughly $31,000 in total interest paid over 360 months. That's $86 per month in hidden cost that your cash flow models probably don't account for. Now the specific line items where servicers bury this spread. When you pull a loan estimate, you'll see origination fees, underwriting fees, and processing fees listed separately from the interest rate. Servicers disclose origination costs in their 10K filings as a percentage of loan volume. Top servicers report origination spreads averaging 0.8% to 2% on investor loans. Underwriting and processing fees, disclosed as separate line items on your closing disclosure, typically add another 0.4% to 0.8%. Combined, this 2% to 65% spread is treated as upfront cost, not rate. But to your net cash flow, it's equivalent to paying an extra 6% in interest because it compresses your available capital and increases your effective borrowing rate. Let me show you the math. Take a $500K investor loan, a quoted rate of Prime+0.5%, let's call that 75% in today's market on a 30-year amortization, cost you $3,684 per month in principal and interest. Now add the hidden 6% spread on top. Your true rate is effectively 9.35%, which costs $4,309 per month. That's $625 extra every month, or $225,000 over 30 years. But wait, you're not financing the entire closing cost. The origination and underwriting fees are typically funded into the loan or paid out of pocket. If funded into the loan, that fee compounds the total real cost of the 6% spread buried in fees, approximately $31,000 in additional interest over the life of the loan. Why does this matter right now? In 2024-2025, mortgage servicers are competing aggressively for investor volume as residential margins compress. They're quoting aggressive rates, Prime+0.25%, Prime+0.5% to win deals, but the underlying spread structure has not changed. The fees are still there, they're just being marketed more aggressively as part of a competitive package. Investors who don't compare the true all-in APRA across servicers will lock into deals thinking they've got a 7.75% rate when their actual cost is 9.35%. Here's what you do before you sign. First, demand an APRA comparison from your lender. The APRA includes the quoted rate plus all fees amortized over the loan term. If the APRA is significantly higher than the quoted rate, more than 0.3% to 0.4%, ask why. Second, request the servicer's 10K filing or investor loan origination metrics. They'll resist, but many have this data public on their website. Third, calculate the effective rate yourself. Take total interest paid over 30 years, divide by the average loan balance, annualize it. If that number is more than 5% higher than the quoted rate, you found the spread. For investors with multi-property portfolios, this transparency gap is not small. 3 properties financed at the same servicer, each with a hidden 6% spread, and you're looking at $93,000 in aggregate additional cost across your portfolio. That's cash flow you could have used to cover vacancy, maintenance, or acquisition costs for property number 4. Real estate rewards research. See you in the next deal.